Well, the Big D podcast is ready for major golf season and it's Masters week. And before I bring in Tom to talk all things green jacket, azaleas, water, drivers, and everything, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Trekking Sports YouTube page. See all my content. Also, check out the Big D podcast, Spotify, and Apple. So, the biggest Nottingham Forest and golf fan I know from the UK, that'd be Tom Jacobs. So, Tom, our football teams didn't do so well this weekend, so maybe our golf picks will be better.
Yeah, we have a good record, don't we, in the majors, Dylan? We've been doing this show for, I guess, 3 years now, maybe. This must be our third year, I think, of doing them. And we've been doing pretty well with the picks. So, yes, not good results for Nottingham Forest or Chelsea this weekend, but both still in the hunt for what we need to be. And I figure the in the hunt term is something we'll be using a lot over the next kind of 30 minutes or so. So, yeah, some correlation there already.
Yeah, so you're thinking Nick Fowler from what, 6 hours back is going to overcome Greg Norman in 96?
Yeah, I mean, that would be fun, wouldn't it? It'd be good if we can get another tournament like that. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough one, isn't it? I think the interesting thing this year, Dylan, is we haven't got, Rory McIlroy, I guess, is the closest, but we haven't got this nucleus of players all playing their best golf at once or all kind of looking like they're going to win a major. So there is obviously going to be kind of Scottie's kind of got back into the frame over the last couple of weeks. But, it's an interesting one. There's a lot of unknowns about players this week and a lot to look forward to. So it should be a good Masters.
And unlike in most years, we don't exactly have the course comp for Augusta because the Genesis wasn't played at Riviera, it was played at Torrey Pines. So, Torrey Pines is fine. We know how Torrey Pines plays, but now my brain is like, what do I use for a course comp this year? Do I use Bay Hill? Heck, maybe Doral isn't the worst course comp.
Well, it's a really interesting point you make. I was going to come on to that, Dylan. I don't think that one of the biggest criticisms of Liv so far has always been how they prepare these guys for the majors, right? And I think the first time they played the Masters, it was a bit of a weird one. I think they were quite far abroad, right? But last 2 years has been Doral, and I think that can really lead into some things for players. You've got Bryson DeChambeau's leading there at the moment, ahead of former Masters winner Sergio Garcia. Patrick Reed's in third as well. Mickelson in third. So you've got 4 Masters winners in the top 5, and Mark Leishman hasn't got a bad record at Augusta either. So maybe that Doral link isn't a bad one.
Yeah, and I think Doral's even longer than Augusta.
Yeah.
It's like 70. Although Bryson reached like a 670-yard par 5 in 2 shots, but for Bryson's, what, a driver and a sand iron?
Yeah, driver and a pitching wedge doesn't really matter, does it? So, yeah, I mean that when looking at that leaderboard now, Dylan, like I'm just opening up here as we're talking, like that is actually a huge pointer, because Mark Leishman's obviously been top 5 in the Masters before as well, right? Like 4th, 9th. I think he's had a couple of top 5. So, I think that's a really interesting point. That actually, I think Doral's probably a better warm up certainly than the Valero Texas Open.
Yeah. But what stats do you look at for Augusta? Because we know Augusta's got those par 4s. I mean, generally, I look at drivers, but second shots are important. But specifically putting on what could be somewhat fast greens will be important. What do you look at?
Yes, I think it's really interesting because I think that in the end, it's all going to come down to a player's short game, right? And that's going to be, as you said, on the fast greens, but also around the greens at Augusta. And the difficulty you have is that, to your point of like, what course do we use as a comp this year? It's really difficult. So, yes, we can look at players around the green stats or strokes going around the green and go, look, they're either struggling or doing really well with it. But none of those tests that they've played so far are anything like Augusta. And it's the same with the putting, right? So that's why every single year you see this odd player. You see Cam Smith, you see Patrick Reed, two live players. You see, Russell Henley's got a really strong record of players that are just capable of turning out to Augusta and turning it on. That's why you still see some of the seniors get involved for a couple of rounds, because it's such a unique challenge that you can almost throw form out the window in terms of short game. Now, I think you do need to be in really good form with your ball striking. And I do think you need some good current form. The Masters trend suggests that, a top 5 finish in the last few weeks is pretty important. Alternatively, you'd love to have had a win. John Rahman had a 3-win season, I think, in going into the Masters. Scott Scheffler won a couple as well. So having a win, it used to be that you could win a Dubai Desert Classic and then everyone thought you were going to win the Masters. That was when Danny Willett and Sergio Garcia did it back to back. And I think it's a really tough one. I think that this year especially, it looks really open. And I think that makes it really exciting.
And I also think that some of these top guys have put it together, whether it be Roy winning Pebble Beach and Sawgrass, which I wouldn't think would necessarily be Roy courses. I thought if Roy would have won, it would have been at Bay Hill. But
or Torrey Pines, right? Like he's always going completely against the grain for Rory McIlroy, and I think in one sense that's probably a good thing. It shows he's sort of evolved as a golfer, but two, like, what does it do? How does it help us with understanding where he is at the Masters? It's such a different test again. So I'm sure we'll come on to his chances in a bit more detail shortly.
Who would you say is heading into Augusta playing hot, and who is going into Augusta not playing hot?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the two obvious ones are Rory McIlroy and Scott Scheffler in terms of the hot category. I think that Rory McIlroy is absolutely the best player in the world at the moment. He's playing like that. Scotty Scheffler did come back to form. Come back to form is harsh. He's obviously already had a top 3 finish this season, but he was sort of getting frustrated, which we haven't been seeing from Scotty Scheffler. But second last week, put the alarm bells on, 36-hole leader there in Houston as well. But Rory again finished 5th. So I think blow for blow, he's kind of the best player in the world right now. He's got those 2 wins in the last 5 starts. Colin Morikawa is, in terms of ball striking, just unbelievable right now. He's leading approach and tee to green. He's leading strokes gained total. So the way he's playing that, and I actually think as well, like when you look at the 2 runner-up finishes he's had, been really unfortunate, right? Like he shot 32 under par at the Century and lost because Colin Morikawa shot minus 35. And then Russell Henley had to chip in to beat him.
At the line.
Exactly. So to me, I think Colin Morikawa is like that one that he's not going to go unnoticed because people pick up on the stats and things like that, but probably slightly underappreciated just because of how good Rory McIlroy's been. He's just slipped into second for strokes gained total. So first in tee screen, first in approach, second in total, 15th off the tee, which considering he's not a long hitter is pretty impressive. 33rd around the green. And again, like the putting is just Morikawa. Like you don't expect a hugely consistent putting week or putting period for him. In terms of who's not, and it's really weird to say, Dylan, and this is probably going to be quite controversial because he's already won this season, but Ludwig Aberg, stats-wise, is an absolute mess right now. It is ridiculous. He's just missed the cuts at the Valero. That now means his run of form since winning is 22nd at the API, miscut at the Players, miscut again last week. And it's very obvious as to why. Like his stats are just absolutely appalling. 64th in strokes gained total, 64th in tee to green, 99th in strokes gained approach, 142nd in around the green, 98th in putting, 12th off the tee is the only saviour. So when we talk about 2 players, we've had Victor Hovland and Ludwig Aberg not playing their best golf, still managed to win. And that shows how good they are as golfers, right? And they are the elite of the elite, and that's why they can do that. But he's in not good shape, Ludwig Aberg, coming in. So as much as people will see the 1 win, they'll see that he finished second here last year, and will probably clamour to bet him. I won't be.
I don't know. And yeah, Louisville finished second here last year, but I think it takes a few years to figure out all the greens and figure out the greens and like where you can miss because there are all areas where if you bail out, you don't want to go left at 11 because there's water there. You don't want to go. You don't want to end up short at 12 because guess what? There's water.
Absolutely. And then the other one that's really interesting is Hideki obviously won the season opener, right? But has kind of tailed off. So I really respect how good Matsuyama is at Augusta, and I think that a lot is to be said for that. Like to be that consistent and play that well as a defending champion as he did, and things like that. But he has really tailed off in terms of form as well. I mean, he's not had another top 10 since his win. He's had 6, 7 starts since then as well. So he's really not playing his best golf going into Augusta, but he wasn't playing his best golf in 2021 when he won as well. So really hard to discount. But another one like a Berg that's just missed the cut in Texas. And it's really interesting, Dylan, because I don't think people necessarily go to the Valero hoping they're going to win ready for next week. But by the same token, you don't want to go there and play poorly. And that's what both Ludwig and Hideki have done. So makes you wonder what the advantage is going there if that happens and you have a short weekend. So, not great.
I'll tell you who's not been hot, and that's Max Homa. I mean, using my favorite terminology, Max Homa couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat.
Yeah. I mean, you saw that when I used that for Elliot Anderson yesterday in the football, and it kind of reminded me that you're saying, but like it's he's terrible. Like he is just. I tweeted about Max Homa potentially winning the PGA Championship this year because it's at Quail Hollow, and I bet him at 70-1. Luckily, I cashed that bet out so I could bet on some more horse racing over here in the UK. But he is just awful right now. He's just split up with his caddy, which hasn't made a blind bit of difference. He still missed the cut last week or this week. Sorry. So yeah, the thing with Max Homa is. He, I guess, was overachieving at the point where he played so well here last year and the wins that he was racking up, right? It's not a huge surprise to see someone like him fall off in the same way as it would be like a Victor Hovland who eventually put it right at the Valspar. And I tell you one other person, and it's another person that got rid of his caddy as well. Matt Fitzpatrick has probably had the biggest fall off of anybody in golf.
Which is surprising because you would think Fitz would be a major championship player. I mean,
yeah, he has just been so poor. I mean, he has fallen, I think, outside of the top 70 in the world rankings, or he's 70th in the world rankings right now. And considering the only time you really see a slip like that is someone that's moved to live and can't get any world ranking points. He has been appalling. I mean, you look at he finished. So if we could go back to the Masters last year where he finished 22nd, since then he's had a 5th at the Memorial. He's had no other top 10s since then. And that's just not good enough for a player like Matt Fitzpatrick, who is also known to split his time across the 2 tours as well. Like to not even have a top 10 on the DP World Tour in that stage is concerning. So if you look at his major starts in 2024, 22nd here, missed the cut of the PGA, 64th at the US Open, and 50th at the Open Championship. He has been, there's just no other word for it. He's been atrocious. He's been a really poor golfer. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if he's taken his eye off the ball slightly, and he's just someone that can't quite afford to do that. But you look at since he won the US Open in 2022, he finished 10th at the Masters in 2023, but since then, no other top 10s in majors.
Yeah, I can't figure out why Fitz would be there, but maybe Fitz again overachieved to win his Masters and to win the U.S. Open at Brookline, and now is coming back down.
And I think like he's so like you see it. I don't know if you've ever watched The Full Swing on Netflix, Dylan, but like they always cover how obsessed he is with the stats and how he records every shot, even that he hits on the range. And it may be that I think he got engaged or whatever it was in his personal life. And he may have just gone, I'm going to take a little bit of a backward step and relax slightly. I've achieved, the ultimate dream of winning a major. And maybe he's just not quite good enough to be someone that takes his ball off his eye off the ball even slightly. So Fitzpatrick is really struggling.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know about you, but I feel like Justin Thomas is coming along strong. Like maybe Max Homa can replicate what JT's done and get back to somewhat decent form.
Yeah, Justin Thomas is. I think there's a win in his near future. I don't think it's at Augusta. I think he's probably someone that's going to be a massive contender at the PGA, as he has done twice in the past already.
Wait a minute. Wait. Quail Hollow's a month and a half away. I know what you want and done. And wait, the last time that the PGA was in Quail Hollow, somebody from Louisville won it.
Yeah, and I think he'll have a good chance again. And I think, look, it's just this is a guy that's already finished second twice this season. Probably should have won the Valspar, right? If we're being honest, should have sealed the deal there. He was in really good shape going into the last few holes, and Hovland just come alive in the snake pit. But I think he'll win soon, and it wouldn't be a surprise if it's the PGA Championship, given that's his favourite major. But Augusta is still a bit of a riddle for him, and maybe just not quite playing well enough to overcome his. I don't think he's struggled. He's obviously been really good here. I think he even averages under par, right? He's just not quite shooting the low rounds. He's missed his last two cuts here. His best finish here is fourth. He was the 36-hole leader, but yeah, I think there's still something to do for Justin Thomas.
I mean, but it takes guys 6, 7, 8 years to play Augusta. JT's been around the course long enough. And plus, at least JT can hit the ball unlike a few guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's in good shape. He's playing well. We're talking about Justin Thomas for the right reasons this year. We're not putting him in that same camp as Fitzpatrick and Aubert, who I'm saying about the stats wise. So, in really good shape. And look, he has been in the mix. He's, as I said, been the 36-hole leader, and he's finished fourth. So maybe he's got a better record there than I think. But I think there's probably people that I would trust over him just in that kind of price range.
Which live golfer do you think fits Augusta the best right now?
So my one and done and my pick for the Masters is from live. So
oh no.
We won't.
Wait! Don't say his name. Don't say his name.
We won't spoil.
I know who's going to be.
We won't spoil that yet. I think if we're just looking for people that are, they're going to do well there, it's a golf course for them. I think that's Jon Rahm. I think Jon Rahm is the very obvious. He's going to go out there and he's going to feel completely comfortable. Cam Smith is another one. Brooks Koepka, thinks that he can win there, and he's shown that so far. And I'm just going to reel off every live player here for you, Dylan, rather than answering the question. But Patrick Reed as well, his record is absolutely phenomenal. For someone because normally when people win at Augusta, they tend to tail off, right? Especially the year preceding. Since his win, he's been 36th, 10th, 8th, 35th, 4th, and 12th. He's had four top 12 finishes at Augusta since his win, which is incredible consistency. So whilst I think Jon Rahm is the slightly better Augusta player, Patrick Reed should be respected.
I think somebody named DeChambeau might have something to say, especially if he can hit the ball 12 miles, right?
Yeah, especially if he plays it like a par 67, like he said all those years ago. But yeah,
although there might be somebody from South America who gives him a run for his money.
Well, look, I think it's good you come on to that. Joaquin Niemann, right, has never had a top 10 in a major championship,
and yet he's 25-1.
Yeah, and I don't like the odds, but if he's gonna win one, I think this is his best opportunity. I think he missed the cut here as an amateur, but in his 4 starts at the Masters the last 4 years, he finished 40th 4 years ago, 35th the second time, where he was 3rd after round 1, 10th after round 2, 16th best finish in a major. He was 10th at the halfway mark 2 years ago, and then 22nd last year, where he was 9th after round 1. I think Joaquin Niemann with the way he's playing, I mean, what's he got, like 3 wins in his last sort of 10 starts or something ridiculous? I know it's on Live, I know it's on the Saudi event, all these sort of things, but it can't be ignored. So good.
Yeah, and everybody's going to want to play him. Like, Joaquin Neiman is going to be like uber chalk. I mean, what is he, 9,300 between Brooks and Hovland? I mean, just speaking of DraftKings, I'm looking at the DraftKings pricing right now. Scheffler's at 12, Roy's at 11, Ludwig 10.8, Colin 10.5, Rom 10.4. The nines all look tempting, except maybe I don't know. I mean, Spieth at 9K, even though his Augusta record's crazy, I don't really think this is the Jordan Spieth who won a decade ago.
No, I don't think Jordan Spieth is that guy that you rely on to win Augusta now. There was a time where you basically couldn't avoid playing him because he was so good, but I think we've got to that time now. And I know he's playing okay in Texas this week, and that's fine, but he's not in major winning form. So I'm not hugely worried about Jordan Spieth next week.
And plus, I mean, the only courses he's done well at Phoenix, well, Jordan Spieth always plays well at Phoenix. I mean,
Always plays well in Texas, right? So
yeah, Jordan Spieth was 59th at the Players, T28 from Valspar, and I mean, yeah, the Players was. I mean, and you would think Jordan played well on. I don't know what Jordan's record is at Sawgrass off the top of my head, but you would think Spieth usually plays well on. I'm trying to think who's the
Pete Dye.
On Pete Dye course, because Jordan Spieth always plays well at Heritage.
Yeah, I think he's actually got a bit of a love-hate relationship with Sawgrass specifically.
Yeah, a few guys do.
But he's finished fourth there in the part. I think he finished fourth on debut, 20th a couple of years ago, and then that was it. So it's not a massive surprise he didn't play well there, but like if he was in the kind of Masters winning form, I guess you'd expect a little bit more from him. So I'm not too worried about Jordan Spieth next week.
What about Patrick Cantlay? Because everybody wonders, like, who's the best player to win a major, and the answer is consistently Patrick Cantlay. Like, I don't know what to say about Cantlay.
I would say that the reason he doesn't get talked about is because people don't like him, not because he hasn't got a good chance of winning. Like, if he was any more likable than he is, any way, shape, or form, I think he would be talked about a lot. Because this is a guy that is incredibly consistent in a time where people are, struggling for form and struggling for, good strokes game metrics and things like that. He is just reliably solid. Not in peak form, not by any means. I don't necessarily think he's in Masters winning form, but he's steady and he's got a good record here. So I don't think we should overlook Patrick Cantlay too much.
Yeah, and plus Patrick Cantlay takes an hour and a half. I don't know if you saw him putt. It took him like 3 days to putt it. He didn't even make the 5-footer yesterday. I'm like, Patrick Cantlay and Brian Holman are in the final. Well, if Patrick Cantlay and Brian Holman and Bryson DeChambeau on the same group, those three will be on the clock when they're hitting their approach shots.
And this is one of the things why people don't like him, right? Like, it's as simple as that. They don't like the way he plays. They don't like the fact he doesn't show too much emotion. There's obviously the Ryder Cup talk with wanting to be paid and not wearing the hat and all these sort of things. He doesn't endear himself to the fans, so he's not going to be a popular choice, and that's why people don't bet him as often. But just from a purely, credential standpoint, we should consider him.
If you were looking to build DraftKings lineups, who would be the one guy you would want in like every lineup?
It's a good question. If I wanted just a foundation player, probably there's two players. Shane Lowry, I think, is playing phenomenal golf. He's playing so consistently. His ball striking is great. He's got a fantastic record here at Augusta over the last kind of 5 years or so. 4 top 25 finishes in that time. So he would be one. And then I think Sepp Straka. I think Sepp Straka is hugely underrated still. Even when we keep talking about how underrated he is, he still goes underrated. He's 3 for 3 for made cuts in the Masters. He's had 2 top 7 finishes in majors now. So I think for a guy that's already got a win on the season, he's already got 5 top 15 finishes as well going into Augusta. I think Sepp Straka is a good solid foundation player. Because at the top, you're going to have to make decisions, right? And they're going to change across lineups. You're going to take a shot on Rory. You're going to take a shot on people like Bryson and Rahm and players like that. But in terms of just these people that I would like consistently across the board, I think Lowry and Straka come into play.
Yeah, and Seb plays well in these long courses. I don't hate the Seb pick, especially with his irons.
His irons are just so good right now, right? Like every time you see him play, it's just inside the top 15 for approach.
This might be recency bias, but what about JJ Spawn? I mean, that guy, speaking of nuclear hot, I mean, JJ Spawn, I mean, Palm Beach's players, not true. Guys may play well in Florida, but I mean, T3 in Hawaii, I mean, maybe JJ Spawn plays well with palm trees, so I don't know how I like azaleas.
Well, it's funny. So when we were going back and forth this afternoon on what time we were going to do this, right? The last player that I was looking at was JJ Spawn, and you go back to 2022, and he gets into the Masters with his win at the Valero, finishes 23rd. That's his first start at Augusta. First 2 starts in the PGA Championship, 35th and 54th. Otherwise, he's missed 3 cuts in majors, so it's really hard to work out whether he is now capable and he's stepped up a little bit more. But we are talking about a player that's only been beaten by Rory McIlroy at the Players. There's someone else that's also had another, he's had 3 top 3 finishes this season. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? So, I think he's definitely worthwhile. When you think about someone, he's like 150 to 1 to win. Like, I don't think JJ Spawn's going to win the Masters, but when we talk about this could be a bit of a surprise year and the big guns are not necessarily playing their very best stuff. I mean, someone like a JJ Spawn can come along and just hang around. It'd be really interesting. So I think he'd be a really solid DraftKings pick for sure.
You know me, Tom. I am the trivia savant. Everybody tries to stump me and fails. So what do you have this year?
So I've got one, and if you get it, then I don't know how to beat you anymore. So there's one player that has finished runner-up to both Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods at Augusta. There's only one. There wouldn't have been a lot of players that would have played against both of them, but there's only one that's finished runner-up behind both. Do you know who that is?
Tom Kite.
Yes. Tom Kite was second in 1985 to Jack Nicklaus, 1997 to Tiger Woods.
Wait a minute. Jack would have won in 86. Jack would have won.
Sorry, yeah, 86. 86, 97, and then he was second to Seve Ballesteros in 83 as well. It's not a bad group of players to finish second behind, but it must be hugely frustrating for a player of his ability to come up against those guys at their very best.
And at least Tom Kite won the 92 U.S. Open in that opponent in that final round where the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour on Pebble.
But I don't know how you cope with coming second 3 times at Augusta. That must really suck.
I think Brooks Koepka's been second twice at Augusta.
Yeah, and there's also a famous veteran Englishman that's got 2 seconds who we talk about almost every time we talk about the Masters, and that's Justin Rose. So if he can come out with another second this year, then he could add to that unwanted record. But yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of bets, who's on your betting card right now?
So do you want the one and done first?
No. I just want the bet. I want the bets.
Okay, but he is my bet as well. He's my leading bet. So I'll come on to him last. So at the moment, Shane Lowry is there. He's like the mid-range pick. I just think he's playing so solidly. He's hanging around. He's 40-1. This is a guy that has had a couple of chances to win. Again, like JJ Spawn, just really unfortunate to run into Rory McIlroy in a peak week. Sepp Straka, 80-1. I think just now he's shown his hand at a couple of majors. He was obviously second behind Brian Harman inside the top 7 at the PGA Championship as well. Strong record here. Hasn't broken 70 yet, which used to be a bit of a prerequisite to become an Augusta contender. But those are two a little bit further down the odds board who I'm betting on. What about you, Dylan?
I've got a few in mind. Every time we come to Augusta, I have to bet an Aussie, so I've got two in mind. One being Minwoo Lee. Now, maybe it's a little bit of a reach because I don't know how Minwoo, but I like Minwoo's driver on a course that favors drivers. I like that he won in Houston, and I think Minwoo's attitude will fit well in what could be what will be an emotional week for these guys. And Adam Scott, I know Adam Scott's not been great, but Adam Scott can put it together. He's won at Augusta. I think he's 110-1 right now. So I think you could do worse than Scott at 110-1.
Yeah, I think Adam Scott is soon going to be in that category of kind of Masters veterans that can just kind of turn up any one year, and it doesn't really matter what form he's in. But he has
a little like a certain Justin Rose, right?
Yeah, there's a similar player, right? And at the end of last year, people have been getting really excited about Adam Scott. Like he was playing really well again, and he's left that behind in 2024. But yeah, I don't mind that as a kind of long shot. Minwoo Lee, I can't get right. Like I didn't have him down as winning the Houston Open. I didn't think he won that very convincingly in the end either. But he has definitely elevated his game. It looks like he's more comfortable playing on the PGA Tour than he ever has before. I think he's now living out in America, which was something he wasn't doing the first time around, and that's probably helping settle. So I do understand the pick. He played well here on debut, right? I think Minwoo Lee. He was 14th on debut, 22nd last year. So if I wanted someone as a top 20 pick, I think Minwoo Lee would be good. I don't know about the win.
Maybe a good first round leader bet.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. That would be with Justin Brewer kind of like 75 times.
Okay, so and two more. Well, one's going to be my one and done, and the other one, the number's not as great now, but Victor Hovland, based on, I feel like if Victor Hovland's going to win a major in the U.S., it's going to be Augusta. I mean, he won Valspar, and maybe Victor Hovland can get out of his funk. I mean, he was third at the PGA, second and third last two PGAs. So maybe Victor Hovland can get it together at Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, look, he had a really good run, didn't he? I think it was 2023 when Rahm won. After that, I was pretty convinced that he was going to win a major that year. He didn't quite. He had that good run at the PGA Championship. I was convinced at some point in 2024 he was going to go to world number one. He didn't. He struggled. But as we said at the top of this show, Dylan, like it shows the class that you can win without your best stuff. And you know, who am I to say whether Victor Hovland's figured it out before Augusta or not? If he was in any better form leading into that win, he'd be kind of 18-1 for Augusta right now. I mean, what is it, like 35-1? Like it's not a horrible number. You're just relying on him kind of figuring it out in the next.
And I think a couple of weeks ago would have been the jackpot when Hovland was in like the 60s or 70s.
But then and I completely agree. But you just definitely wouldn't have bet him because he was just like all at sea. Like he was playing like Victor, like Max Homer. Sorry, he was in that kind of form, right? So this is kind of like now we've got he's got the win, and that's a massive surprise. A bit like Aberg. I don't know how these two players have won this season because they're playing terribly, but they have, and sometimes it takes that to find it. I mean, Hideki Matsuyama won it without his best form, right? So, I think Victor Hovland's a sound pick. I'm not as high on him this year as I have been in the previous years in any major, but completely understand the pick.
All right. So last but not least, I mean, we got it right with Brom a couple of years ago. Who all one and done's beat?
So I am going with Bryson DeChambeau, who is 22 to 1. I just think last year he showed he can do it. And I know that he didn't win. I know that he wasn't even really in contention in the final round, but he did finish sixth. That was his best effort at Augusta. He led after round one, led after round two, just really couldn't keep it going. Shot over par in the final three rounds, but he's leading as we speak in Live Miami. We've already talked about how Doral might be a really good comp. He is a player that finished second in that international series event at the start of the year in India. He's been okay on Live up until now, but really and truly, all he cares about is these majors. I think the biggest thing that's keeping him on Live at the moment is the fact that he can, monetize his YouTube channel and keep doing that without being stunted by the PGA Tour. He loves that stuff. If you just look at his, major record over the last 2 years, fourth at the PGA Championship, 20th at the US Open, sixth at the Masters, second at the PGA Championship, won the US Open. So sixth, second, and first in the first three majors last year. I don't care about the Open Championship. It's not that sort of event for him. So, yeah, 3 stateside majors. Or if you want the last 5 starts last 6 starts, in America in the majors, missed the cut in the Masters, 4th at the PGA, 20th at the US Open, 6th at the Masters, 2nd at the PGA, 1st at the US Open. That is incredible, right? And I just have this thing in my mind, Dylan, that Rory McIlroy is going to get the closest he's ever got to winning the green jacket. He's going to be right there on kind of 15, 16 with a chance to win. And Bryson's going to completely rip his heart out again. And I don't even know if I want that to happen, but financially I do. For my sake, for my wallet, Bryson to win the Masters, 22 to 1 on DraftKings right now. It's going to go shorter when he wins Live Miami later on this afternoon. I think that's the one.
Well, Tom, you're usually the one picking Justin to win a majors. This year, Justin's going to win the Masters, but it'll be Justin Thomas winning the Masters. I think JT is overdue and is going to win a major that's not the PGA Championship.
And I think, Dylan, I just said to you, after I said, I don't think he's got the best record here. Like, when you look back at it, it's actually absolutely fine. Like, co-leader in the past at halfway stage, finished 4th. He does average under par for his, career here. By the way, just another shout out to Justin Rose. He's played 70 rounds at Augusta, and he's under par in 35 of them, and his stroke average is under par. That's ridiculous. But anyway, back to Justin Thomas. He's playing great golf right now. It's hard to deny, and I think it's really important, Dylan, for his legacy that he wins another major that's not the PGA Championship. Otherwise, he just gets known as this PGA Championship guy. And there's always this story about the fact that his dad's a PGA pro and a member of the PGA Association, and always that story. And he probably wants to detach himself and just make his own kind of thing. Like, look, I'm a Masters champion now. So I do get it. I understand the pick. I have a hard time envisioning Justin Thomas around Augusta, but that's why we've got 2 one-and-done selections between us, and hopefully we've got the right one.
Yeah, and everybody's wondering why I didn't pick Roy based on his season. I think Roy's going to win a major, just not this one.
I think I said this last year. I think it's more likely that Rory McIlroy wins 2 other majors this season than he does win Augusta. I could absolutely see him win the PGA and the US Open or the PGA.
I am slamming Roy hard at Quail Hollow because I won't necessarily even call it the PGA in Quail Hollow because guess what? I'll call it the Wales Fargo on steroids.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Roy's got 3-4 wins there. I mean, that horse is made for Roy.
Yeah, I mean, between Max Homer and Rory McIlroy, they love the Quail Hollow, but I wouldn't be backing Max Homer at the moment. So
no, I'll tell you this: Max Homer's not on my betting card for the PGA.
Well, unless he's got a little bit of time to figure it out, but he won't. I guess the one thing I want to ask you, Dylan, who is the sort of player that you're most interested to seeing what they do. Is it like Joaquin Neiman finally like finishing inside the top 10 and going closer to a major? Is it one of the players that's slightly out of form making a run? Is it a John Rahm getting back in the mid? Like what storyline is interesting to you outside of your betting card?
I want to see if Xander Schauffele's healthy.
Yeah. That changes a lot if he is.
I mean, I don't know if Xander's been healthy. I mean, he didn't really play until Bay Hill, and then played those last 3 Florida events. I just want to see if Xander's healthy.
If he is, do you think he can win?
I mean, Xander's been my one and done 3 of the last 4 years at Augusta.
So that's a yes then.
I think Xander's one of those guys who could win any tournament. Yeah. I'm not sure he could beat Roy if Roy and Xander. I think Roy and Scotty are here, and Xander's like here.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think the interesting stories for me are whether someone like a Russell Henley or a Corey Connors, both who have really good Augusta records. Corey Connors elevated his game to another level again this season. I think Russell Henley got his first win in a long time. Like one of those two kind of get into contention is really interesting. I think the Joaquin Neiman situation is huge, right? Like this is a player.
By the way, if I'm not mistaken, Russell Henley's a Georgia Bulldog, and Brian Holman is
Georgia
Bulldog. Yeah. And where's Augusta being held next week?
Exactly that. So we could have that. I think that's a huge story. Also, like we have all, as a golf community, given up on Dustin Johnson. I think that's fair to say. But all of a sudden, played okay in the last one in Singapore, was playing okay at Doral for the first couple of rounds. He said that he's close to what he was in 2020. Whether you believe that or not is up to you guys. But it would be really interesting to see if Dustin Johnson can have anything to say in majors anymore.
Phil was out of nowhere and then won the PGA and finished second at the Masters a couple years ago. So
if he can bounce back, Dustin Johnson can bounce back. It's 90-1, Dustin Johnson. Patrick Reed, as I said, great record, 90-1. You would have worse bets than those two guys, I think.
Yeah, I don't. All right, Tom. Thanks for hopping on. Wishing our golf bets well, and maybe we'll have a Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas showdown.
I mean, look, that would be really fun, right? Like PGA poster boy, Liv poster boy, both huge historians of the game, love the game. Both would love a green jacket. One probably infinitely more popular than the other, but I don't know these days actually because Bryson is hugely popular now. But yeah, it's good fun. So could be a good week.